Hello, everybody. I'm just going to give it a few seconds just to see. We always have a slight delay with a couple of people coming in, so let's just give it a few seconds, and then we'll get everything formally running. Okay. All right. Well, let's get ourselves started. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to this American Association for Cancer Education Engagement Lounge on getting the most from AACE membership. My name is James Marmion. I'm a cancer educator based at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, and I also currently serve as chair of the AACE membership committee. My co-host today is Jen AACE, and she is the association's executive director, who has essentially the lead on all matters practical, technical, and administrative in hosting the association's Engagement Lounge series. Now, this is a lounge which is aimed squarely at our members and any prospective members, and it'll highlight the benefits that your membership brings to you, whether you're just starting out or if you're an established professional. We'll also highlight some newly developed member tools and facilities, and most importantly, we'd like to gain your feedback on anything more the organisation can be doing to support you. So let me just spend a moment giving you a quick rundown of our agenda and who will be speaking today. In a moment, we'll be pleased to have a few words from our President-elect, Michelle Williams, to set things off. Next up, Vice President Juan Luque will give us a brief overview of the member benefits we have available. We'll then have we might spend a few minutes having an open forum where we'll run some polls and questions and explore your thoughts and any pain points that you're feeling. After that, Jayla Lockhart, who's a doctoral candidate and a young educator from the University of Alabama, will tell us about the benefits for students and young professionals. Next, we'll have a segment on the association's Journal of Cancer Education, and that'll be led by its editor-in-chief, Maria Bishop. After that, Michelle will take over once more to talk about our annual conference, which I'm sure many of you know will be taking place in October. I'll then say a few more words about how engagement lounges have become established as a member resource. Jen will then speak about a new area I'm personally very excited about, which is our new messaging and discussion software, AACE Connect. We'll then have Lucas Moskal, who's a student at Wrocław Medical University in Poland, and he'll combine with Kathleen Hennigan to talk about opportunities for membership from our Academy of Fellows. And we'll also have Michael Preston from Virginia Commonwealth University and a member of our membership committee, and he's going to offer a few personal insights into the benefits which can associate with volunteering as a committee member. So a pretty full program today. Let's keep it rolling over, and let me pass over to Jen, who'll fill you in on some of our rules of engagement.
Thanks, James. Okay, so I'm going to do this part really quickly, just notifying you that we are recording and we are also live streaming this to the AACE YouTube channel. Asking you to please rename yourself if you are named something a little odd. Sometimes our devices decide what our name on Zoom is, but you have the ability to rename yourself. Stay muted when you're not speaking. If you want to speak out loud, you're always welcome to use the chat to type a question or comment. But if you want to speak out loud, and we encourage you to do so because we like to engage with you, just raise your hand and we will recognize you to speak. And then if you have any technical issues, you can chat to me privately in the chat window. And if I'm actually talking at that moment, please just give me a moment and I'll get back to you when I'm done speaking. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then we can move on to whatever is next.
Okay, well, in that case, thank you very much, Jen. And I think we will move on to Michelle. Michelle.
Okay, hi everyone. Can you see my screen okay? Okay, perfect. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for participating in this engagement lounge. I welcome you to our organization. If you are new, welcome back. If you are an existing member, I wanted to start off by sharing with you our organization's mission, vision, and our values. And these three things are one of the reasons, or actually the main reason, that I'm a part of this organization. Our organization truly embodies our mission. We really want to champion the highest standards for cancer education. We are a transdisciplinary organization, meaning that we have people who do cancer education in a variety of different ways. I myself, I am in the field of public health. I am an academic researcher, but we have physicians, we have nurses, we have community health workers, we have a variety of different people. So we welcome all people because we know that that interdisciplinary work is what it takes to get this achieving our mission. Another reason that I love this organization is because of the values. We truly embody these values. And I've been a part of many organizations, and I can say that this organization, the members, especially among the leadership, we truly have respect for one another. We really engage in collaborative activities, and we highly value mentoring. And you're going to hear about our mentoring programs a little bit later in this session. So again, I don't know what drove you to this organization, but hopefully it's because of your love for cancer education. And if that's the goal, then you're in the right place. I know I started with AACE many years ago as a student when we were still having our conferences in Clearwater Beach, Florida. And I remember going to my very first conference, and I was and still am such a geek. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Kathy Mead. I read her articles. And it's like, you know, you have the opportunity to meet these experts and engage with people and form these collaborations. And so from being a student, just attending the conference, here I am now as the president-elect of the organization. And I couldn't be even any more proud of our organization. So again, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for joining this session. Hopefully you get a lot out of it. And of course, ask as many questions as you need, and we hope that you'll be engaged with us throughout the year. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Michelle, for that enthusiastic lead-in. That sounds fantastic. We have got, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Juan Luque to give us a brief overview of some of our benefits before we might take a chance to have a few questions straight after. Juan, take it away.
Okay, thank you, James, and thank you, Michelle, our current president-elect. I put my intro in the chat. So my name is Dr. Juan Luque, and I'll just share a brief anecdote that when I asked my daughter about her activity, she's in second grade, she doesn't really value the activity if there isn't the option to make new friends. So Michelle mentioned meeting mentors and making new friends. And so, you know, that's very important for an organization, especially a small organization such as ourselves. I've been a member for 15 years and started out attending AACE when I was living in Tampa, and Clearwater Beach was one of my hangouts. So there was no better place to have a conference than Clearwater Beach. And that's where I started my AACE membership and conference attendance. So through mentors and friends recommending me to get more involved, that's how I became more involved in serving on various committees, and then eventually as a member at large on the executive council, then secretary, and now vice president. Been involved in the planning of the meetings. So if you are a member, that's one of the benefits, is that you can get involved in these committees for the meeting planning, and that's where a lot of the meetings happen with our organization. We start planning the next meeting shortly after our meeting ends in October. So, and then we'll be planning the meeting for Toronto for next year. So thinking about, what are some of the activities, at the conference we've had really exciting dinner activities for example, I remember Dr. Charles Moore, when he was president, we had the dinner there in Centennial Plaza there at the Memorial building, and there was an excellent talk about the Holocaust, I remember. So we touched different issues, being involved in this organization at our annual conference and meeting. Other great advances that we've had and benefits for our members, our own James Marmion, he's when we were co-chairing the membership committee, we launched this initiative on the engagement lounges, that this is one of those continuing engagement lounges. So that was the brainchild of James to come up with that, and it's been very successful. We've had many different topics, going from program evaluation to highlights from cancer programs across the country. And our members have really gotten a lot of hearing about what's going on with cancer education through various projects or NCI funded initiatives. We also have reduced rates, for the conference if you are a member, and then you have access, of course, to the Journal of Cancer Education, the flagship journal of our society. And of course, do not disturb. Also, we have a member directory where you can find out about some of our other members, what their interests are, connect with those members, and that helps with the networking and maybe thinking about projects. And going back to Dr. Charles Moore, he came up with this idea for the READS grant, which stands for Research, Education, Advocacy, and Direct Service. These are small pilot grants that can, of new ideas, training programs. We've had a lot of success in looking over those applications in terms of new projects and new ideas that come from our members. And so that's another benefit. We also have awards and scholarships. So those who want to apply for awards, either say through the journal of an article or a scholarship travel awards. And then, of course, you do have voting privileges in the elections or on issues that we put out to our members. So those are just a couple of brief benefits that you'll hear about in more detail following any questions. As James said, if you have any questions, you can put in the chat or unmute. So I'll turn it back over to James. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Much appreciated. And always nice to remember some of the highlights from our conferences and talks and those kind of things. Let me, if we've got any questions from the floor, now is a great time. In particular, I'd be delighted to hear if anybody has any thoughts or questions about areas that they've struggled with, or areas which they think that we could be doing more in order to support you. So feel free at any time to put those questions either into the chat function, or perhaps to raise your hand. I can't see any hands raised right now, to ask a question verbally. In the meantime, while you're thinking about that, we're always great fans of having polls. So why don't we, Jen, if we're okay with that, why don't we start with a nice easy one, which is, as the chair of the membership committee, let's say, are you currently a member of AACE? I'm hoping that's a binary question. Let's see. rather, perhaps we should have one which is kind of thinking about it, or used to be, or I haven't quite paid my membership dues yet, but let's see what we get.
Okay, I think we've got just about everybody in now, so I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and I'll show the results.
Okay, so we've got a few people who are not, a few people who may be still thinking about it. Be delighted to hear from you. If any of you are wondering, if any of you have thoughts about you're thinking of joining, but may not be quite sure, you're welcome to ask questions about that, questions about how you think it could serve you. Let's ask, now we're here, now we're just getting warmed up to a couple of questions. Let's, I think let's ask, see if anybody wants to tell us what primary discipline they are in or career they're training for. We've got a few more options here.
I'm also going to note that Dr. Hill has put a nice introduction in the chat. Dr. Hill is a past president of AACE and is a longtime member. So he's a really good connection for those of you who might be new.
Welcome,
right.
Dr. Hill.
I'm going to end the poll and share the results. We have 5 who have said other. Maybe those of you who clicked other, you can tell us in the chat what your discipline is.
And while you're thinking about that, I think we might as well have good things come in threes. Let's get ourselves a let's have one more, which is essentially share with us what your point is on your career trajectory. We have a number of options here. I'm wondering if it's difficult to admit to being late career, if that is an option for anybody.
Okay, once again, we've got, I think, just about everybody. So again, we have a pretty good mix here.
So we have a nice spread. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, everybody. I think as we progress, feel free, as we say, to put any questions which come to you in the chat. And as each of our speakers speak, if any of you want to say anything during that time, you can feel free to do so. Just raise your hand. But let's keep it running then. Let's keep it bowling over. I think it could be a good chance now to let's go to Jayla Lockhart, who will have a chance to say something about benefits we have for students and young professionals. Jayla.
Yes, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm Jayla Lockhart, and I'm a third-year doctoral student at the University of Alabama studying health education and promotion. And really what brought me to ACE is just the fact that my first mentor, Dr. Levi Ross, who was past president, was still involved at the time and still is to this day. And he said, I want you as your first year student to submit an abstract to this conference. And I was like, okay, what's an abstract? And so here I am today, thriving in my research and really excited about being a part of this organization. And so as a student, I've truly benefited from this organization because I did the first conference, I had a great experience, but that was in 2020. So everything was online, COVID was bogging us down. And so he said, well, just stay involved. And, once we get back in person, maybe you can go to Toronto. And I was like, okay, yes, I'm going to Toronto. And so, through the years, I guess over the last 2 years, I've been able to submit my abstracts and work to the conference every year. And then I've also been a benefactor of the scholarship and awards to attend some of the conferences. So even though they weren't in person, there were still scholarships available to help with the fees and internet fees associated with it. And so that's been a huge blessing as well. And honestly, the real benefit to being a student is kind of taking advantage of all of these organizations while you can at the student price, because we know things get more expensive as you progress in your career. And so that's been a big benefit. But the other benefit is being able to add service to my CV. And so I guess after last year's conference or before maybe, I said, hey, Jen, like, what are we doing for young professionals, maybe college students or early career professionals? Can we have a space dedicated just for them at our conference? And she let me have some space and time. And so we were able to put on an early career panel where students could just come and ask questions. And so being able to plan that definitely helps in my career trajectory, but also other students as well. And so we'll actually be having an in-person panel this year at AACE. So if you guys are I know I'm probably one of the only students on here, but please invite your students to come and attend. Again, the student price is very manageable for an in-person conference. So that is a definite benefit. But as I mentioned, being in my dissertation year, now I'm starting to think about careers and being able to connect with other researchers and maybe other staff as well at like maybe medical schools. And so using the career membership directory is going to help in making those connections, as well as when I get ready to apply for some pilot funding, I'll have the READS grant available to me. And then finally, I'll be doing an article style dissertation. So that means I'll have 2 manuscripts that need to be published and I can use our wonderful journal. So again, as a student, it's really kind of like, the world is in your hands when you're a part of an organization such as AACE, and it really could be a student at any level, whether you're a clinician or a doctoral student, a PhD, or anything else. I think we do a really great job at promoting the interdisciplinary aspects of cancer education, and I've really been able to thrive, I would say, because of my membership here.
Thank you, Jayla. That's a very good introduction. We have, actually, you remind me, there's a thought, even though we don't have very many students here today, what we will be doing, we're recording this session and we're sort of keeping it for posterity. Well, all of our Engagement Lounge sessions are on the AACE website. Actually, a question for Jen, perhaps. Jen, often our AACE sessions are restricted to members. Is there a way that we can de-restrict the access to this one so that people could share the recording with future students who may be interested in joining us?
Sure. So we have on the website, the collection of our recordings on the website is restricted to members, but the recordings on our YouTube channel are publicly open, and that's that will definitely be true for this one. So everybody will have the link, and I will send out the link to everyone who registered, the direct link to the YouTube video, and that will be available to anybody you want to share too.
Thank you for that. And we'll probably, as you say, we'll probably put something around to members afterwards with the link later on. I noticed that we have a question in the chat from John Kim, who was asking whether we still offer mentor-mentee opportunities. John, what I'm going to say in reply to that, I think that's going to be a good thing to be picked up when we have the Fellows as a Resource section from Lucas and Kathleen later. So I'd kind of say, hold that thought. And we also have a question from Dr. Mubarak Leiban. Welcome, sir. We want to ask us an opportunity for people based and doing research in Africa to join and participate in AACE activities. Well, indeed there is. We have we do have both in terms of our conference that you'll be able to attend. Although, of course, we're not having virtual attendance this year, but we also have an international committee. Jen, can you say more about that?
Absolutely. We have a global cancer education committee that is actually working with a number of members who are in different countries in Africa. I'm not sure if we have anyone in Nigeria at the moment specifically, but I know we have connections with a number of countries in Africa. And we also offer, and I believe Nigeria falls into the category of being a lower middle income country. We offer discounted rates on membership and for conference attendance if you are from a lower middle income country as identified by the World Bank. And as Kathleen mentioned in the chat, she's answering some of the mentoring questions, but also we have had some involvement with AORTIC, which is the African Organization for Research and Training in Cancer, if I am not mistaken. I think that's what that acronym is. Kathleen gave me a thumbs up. So we have had some connection with AORTIC and have had some participation, both with ACE members going to AORTIC and also AORTIC members coming to ACE. So we are always looking for more opportunities to work with partners globally.
And do we have I'm just wondering who a good individual may be that we could, maybe if we wanted to have somebody reach out or have Dr. Lyman reach out to them?
I think that probably Dr. Amr Solomon would be the first recommendation. Maria, did you want to say more about that? You'll need to unmute.
Thank you. I also wanted to mention that we have a full membership with UICC as well. So we get to meet our colleagues from Africa in that setting. So if you're going there and I'm going there, I hope to meet you, and I'll share my contact information.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. And Maria, actually, now that you're up on screen, I was about to introduce you anyway. If you could perhaps tell us about an extremely important and central benefit which we have, which is the Journal of Cancer Education.
Hello, everyone. It's so good to be here with you all. I see a lot of friends that I've known for many, many years since I joined AACE. And Jayla, I had a similar experience. When I got my first R25, my mentor said to me, "Oh, now we have to get membership in AACE." And I've been there ever since. And I've met wonderful friends along the way, and they were vital to my career and also to my development as an oncologist. So we're strongly committed to that, and we're strongly committed to mentorship. Over the last 4 years, I have had the great privilege of acting as editor-in-chief for the Journal of Cancer Education. The journal is an international publication. Our readership is global. We have reviewers from many countries throughout the world, as well as authors. And this helps us to reach out and to help build upon our mission to promote cancer education and decrease the burden of cancer. The journal is the official journal of the American Association for Cancer Education, as well as the European Association for Cancer Education. And like AACE, we are committed to mentorship. I'd like to share with you 2 mentorship opportunities. The first is we get a request from early career professionals, or even those that are mid or late, that have never had experience reviewing, but would like to. And we're wondering how they could learn to review. In the past, at AACE meetings, we've held workshops on how to review. I believe there were at least 2. And we also have an opportunity where if you have a mentor that is willing to work with you, we can send a manuscript for your review. You can work with your mentor in reviewing the manuscript, and you will be acknowledged for being a reviewer on that manuscript. So I want to encourage you all that you can co-review with another more experienced reviewer. Okay. The other opportunity is writing manuscripts. At an AACE meeting, we've talked about writing successful manuscripts, and going back to the Global Cancer Education meeting that Jen spoke about, recently there was a series of lectures learning how to write scientific papers. And out of that series of lectures, we received a manuscript which was a reflections piece talking about the value of that series of lectures. So for those folks who don't have as much experience writing, and or if they've submitted a manuscript that upon first review looks like it has the potential for being accepted, but it's not quite there yet, we have members from AACE that are willing to work with our AACE authors closely and review first submission, re-review second submission, and hopefully bring it closer to publications. I will be at the International Cancer Education meeting in October, and I would welcome meeting with anybody at that time. And I'm always available by email if you have an idea for a manuscript and would like to share an abstract with you. I'd be very happy to review it and let you know if it fits the mission of the journal. And thank you all. And I'm hoping to go to UICC this year. And I hope to meet anybody that's going there. It would be a really nice opportunity to see you at both meetings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. That's such a centrally important resource that we have available there. And thank you for everything that you've put into this as well.
Thank you.
Well, let's with that thoughts, I think that we can go on to another of our great resources, which is very excited coming up soon. We have our annual conference, which I, for one, hope to attend personally. So a great, what feels like a great novelty these days. Michelle, can I invite you to talk a little about our conference?
Absolutely. So yes, this is the amazing conference that I've been talking about and everyone else has been talking about, the International Cancer Education Conference. And I think, Jen, this would be a good time for a poll question, don't you think?
Yep, absolutely.
So how many of you are planning to attend this year's conference in College Park?
Okay, we've got about everyone. Those are pretty happy
All right,
results.
I love it. Yes, I'll take that. I will take that. And by the end of this session, those not sures, I'm sure you're going to be on the yes side, hopefully. But yes, I'm so excited about this year's conference in College Park. Of course, it's going to be our first in a while in person because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We've had some amazing online conferences the last 2 years, but it's really going to be great to be back in person. And of course, we are going to be taking all the precautions that we need to make sure that everyone stays safe and healthy, required masking and vaccinations and all of that good stuff so people can come and fellowship and not have to worry too much about things going on. But I'm supposed to be talking about the benefits. Okay, here we go. So the benefits of attending our conference. these are just a few. I think everyone has mentioned some amazing things in terms of networking, but that's one of the key things with this conference is that you get to network with experts from around the world because it truly is an international conference. I remember, I think it must have been 2020, for our first virtual conference, there was several presenters from like Brazil. And I just remember him saying, next year you need to have somebody that speaks Portuguese because he had to have an interpreter. But that just tells you that it really is truly an international conference. You get to network with these experts from around the world. And of course, learn about the latest in cancer education. Also, you can obtain feedback on your own work because people who are presenting posters or oral presentations, we encourage audience interaction, and feedback is part of that, you know, whether it's constructive criticism or even not so constructive criticism, it can be helpful in advancing your own work. Another amazing thing about our conference is that we offer really affordable workshops before the conference. And like I mentioned, I've been coming to ICEC for many years, and I still remember one of the first workshops that I participated in with Dr. Roberta Baer, and it was on doing qualitative focus groups. And I just learned so much in that session. And unlike other conferences, our workshops are truly affordable. So you get to learn new skills. And as Jayla mentioned, we offer travel scholarships, but not just to students. Just about anybody who meets the criteria can apply for one of our several travel scholarships that we have. And then, of course, another important thing is just to be inspired by the people that are around you who have the same passion and interest that you do. I know this is one of the key things that I look forward to going to the conference, and not just, you know, meeting old friends and things like that, but just being inspired. Because again, I remember attending some sessions and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. How can I, you know, do something like that with my research? So you get to interact with all these amazing people. We have amazing opportunities for mentoring during the conference. I remember one year I served as a mentor, and the person I mentored now, she's like on the planning committee and everything like that. So it's like, it's really, really an amazing opportunity in so many different ways that you don't get with a lot of larger organizations. Because our organization is smaller, you do have these more intimate interactions. Like we have lunches where you actually sit, you talk with people, and you know, we just want to make it an amazing experience for everyone. And also I have to brag on this because I'm so proud of them. This year, I have students presenting their research at the conference. So this is my first time actually bringing students to the conference. And again, I remember when I was a student myself, and I never really imagined myself bringing students to the conference, but I'm so proud of them. I have one team there doing an oral presentation, and then another team that's doing 2 poster presentations. And so, you know, I think I might be a little bit more excited than they are about it, but I can see in their eyes how enthusiastic they are about having the opportunity. Because I'm like, this is an international conference, you guys, you know, so you better come with your A game. You're presenting this work, you know. But again, it's just an amazing, amazing opportunity. So for all of you who are on the fence right now, again, I hope that by the end of the session that you are going to join us in College Park. And just in case you forgot, here's information for the conference. And you can register at 2020.attendicec.org. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Particularly great to hear about your journey going, you know, full through from student to students. That's great stuff, and can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to joining you all there. Okay, well, I see that the next item is actually me, and I was going to speak to you a little bit about our engagement lounges. So I just want to spend a few minutes highlighting one of our newer member innovations, and that's the engagement lounge. So as all of you will be able to attest by your very presence, these are of course a series of Zoom meetings which focus on topics relevant to our members. However, they aren't limited to members only. For example, we've co-hosted a lounge with our partner organisation, CPEN, We've also partnered with a regional centre of excellence to focus on good practice in educational delivery. Now, our first lounge took place, they seem very well established now, but our first lounge just took place in April 2020, and that date is telling. As you will all no doubt recall all too closely, the world was suddenly in lockdown, and we were suddenly acquainting ourselves with the etiquette of virtual communication. Those lounges represented a reaction to this, and indeed was an embracing of new opportunities and different ways to communicate. Now, a couple of years later, we're hosting our 11th lounge. And even though we are mostly back at work, our plan is to continue with them on a regular basis going forward. All right, so what have we hosted in the past, and what are we doing going forward? So a few examples of previous lounges we've hosted have included, well, we had a couple of separate discussions on how NCI funded summer programs could develop virtual programming during COVID. We also had separate lounges for practitioners on developing tools for distance learning and developing community outreach under COVID. We've had lounges on e-health literacy, on cancer education in diverse communities. And we've also had lounges to help us as practitioners in how we measure success, on how we evaluate our programs, and on how we measure our partnerships. So going forward, the organization's plan is at a minimum to have regular lounges hosted thematically by our several committees, the membership committee, the educational committee, global health, and our Academy of Fellows. But we would also like to hear ideas from our members. So if you would like to host a committee, we have the infrastructure to support that. We can help you do it. We can help you get it set up. So just let us know if any members would have an area of interest in which they would like to host themselves an engagement lounge. Alternatively, if you would like us to host, if you would like to have somebody from the organization itself host a committee, please send us your idea. We are setting up, I believe we're setting up a designated contact point, and I'll look to Jen for that in just a second, and we'll consider taking it forward. And so the future is bright, but let me know if you have any comments on that now. I'll be happy to hear them. Otherwise, Jen, perhaps you could just remind me on that contact point we were planning to get set up for this.
Yes, we are going to be setting up a web form that any individual member of AACE who would like to organize an engagement lounge can submit their idea and description of what they want to do. And then it will potentially be referred to an ACE committee just to review it. Because we do want to have a sort of step to make sure that we don't have, corporate interests submitting something that is basically advertising. We want to make sure that we're really having an engagement lounge, but we also would work with you to help develop that process. It's fairly easy. We have found the preparation for these to be relatively painless, as James said. So we would definitely welcome ideas and organizers.
Well, thank you for that, Jen. Let us move along. Something which is related, another new area, one which I'm personally very excited about, which is ACE Connect. Jen, would you, I believe you have a few things to share with us about that.
I do. I'm actually going to start on the ACE website itself. And part of the reason for that is that, and I just confirm for me, James, that you can see my screen now.
I can.
Okay, thank you. I just want to show you a few of the things that people have touched on in our discussions here today. So for example, both Juan and Jayla talked about our member directory, and right now I'm logged in under a member account. So this is something that I can see as a member of the organization. And you can see that you can search for a specific person, but you can also search by a location or by a discipline or an academic interest. So let's say that I was looking for someone in Alabama who had an interest in health disparities. I can click find on that, and look, Jayla's name is right there at the top. So that would be one way that you could use that. And then of course, if you were looking for a specific person, for example, if you wanted to find Maria's contact information because you had a journal question, you could just type her name in and search, and it will be right there, her information. So this is what is available to members to access the membership directory. We also have the My Account area, which is where you fill in the information that populates here. For example, the discipline and the academic areas of interest. And you can always go here. You can update your name, your title and institution, your addresses and email addresses, your login information, your username and password, all of your communication preferences for getting emails from us. And then down here is your About Me section, where you can identify your academic and research interests, your discipline, put in your bio, all of that. And the only thing I would say is if you make any changes, make sure to click the Save button, because if you don't, it won't stick. Down at the bottom of this page, you also have like a payment history and a communication history. So for example, if you needed a copy of your dues receipt, that should be here that you could click on and access at any time. We also have a member resources page, and this to me is sort of the hub of everything that you might want. This is where you can access the JCE online when that's free for all members. So to get access to the full articles and not having to pay for them, you can access that right from this page. We've got all of our our bylaws and our policies and links to past newsletters. There's also this link to our member webinar library, which is also engagement lounges fall under that. That also is under resources here. And we have engagement lounges here at the top. This is where you will find a link once it's available to fill in that form to suggest an engagement lounge, and we'll also send out emails about that. And then, as James had mentioned, we've got the webinar library, and this page is members only, but it's just to kind of collect all of these recordings in one spot so that it's easy for you to find them. And you can see this goes beyond our engagement lounges back to some AACE lectures and some other webinars that we've done in the past. So there's a lot of information here available. And obviously we've got that donate button. So we would love for you to click on that. One last thing I wanted to mention, because Juan and several others talked about scholarships and also the Reeds grant. Under About Us, we have the awards and honors section, which is where all of our scholarships and awards are listed. So you can see our scholarships here on the side, and you can click on the details to see recipients. You can also see our Reeds grant right here at the top, and that we're accepting applications through today. So if anybody is hoping to get a seed grant, get it in as soon as you can. And yeah, that's that page. All right, so now I'm going to go to ACE Connect, because that is exciting. You can access that right here under the membership tab. And then we're here on this homepage for ACE Connect, which if you're not signed in, there will be a sign in button up here. I'm already signed in, so I don't need to do that. There is a user guide linked right on the homepage that can answer most of your questions if you have questions about how this works. there's also a button to go right to the communities that you're already involved in. And so I'm going to go there. This account is involved in the Addressing Health Disparities community. So I'm going to use that as an example. There are multiple components to these communities, which are discussions. It's sort of like it's an online discussion board, essentially. There's also document libraries that come with it for sharing of documents and resources. And a list of members. And you can click on any of these items to go straight to that section, or you can just click on the name of the community to go into the community in general. The discussion forum, I don't feel like I need to make a lot of statements about how a discussion forum works. You can post a new message thread at any point. You can also click into an existing thread and reply to it. You can do that all from the website. You can also do it by email, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. The document library is available here. The look of this may be changing soon. I hope. They have a new design that they've been sort of pilot testing that I think looks a little better than this. But the basic concept is the same. There's a list of folders over here. This particular community just has one folder. So you click on the folder you want to go into, and then you have access to whatever documents have been posted there. And sometimes it's not a document, sometimes it's a link. So the library can be links, it can be documents, and you can create new library entries to share with people. And then also, if anybody attaches a document to a discussion thread, it is automatically added into the library. So that's nice. It keeps all of the documents in one place. And then there's just a list of the members who are part of this particular community. So you can obviously scroll down and see that information. You can see if I hover over James's name, I can request that he connect with me on AACE Connect, or I can send him a message that's a private message. And those buttons are also over here on the side. You can also search this list. Right now, this particular list only has 13 members, so it's not a big deal, but you could search. Under the settings at the top of any community, and this is specific just to the community that you are in, if you click on settings, it lets you leave the community if you don't want to be part of it anymore. But most importantly, it lets you change your email notifications. So you can change the email address to which the notifications about this community specifically come. And you can also change how you receive those messages. Do you receive them in real time, meaning you get an email as soon as somebody posts something? Or do you receive a daily digest, which will just have a digest summary of all of the messages posted in the community that day? Or do you not want to get emails at all? You only want to see messages when you come specifically to this website. And I'm going to show you what those emails look like quickly. This is an example of the digest. This is not AACE Connect. This is actually another organization that I belong to as a member that uses the same platform, because all of my AACE Connect messages are not in digest form. They're all in real time. So I get your messages as soon as they come through. But this is an example of what the digest format looks like. It gives you headers for the specific thread, and then a list of all of the comments that have been made under that thread. And you can click on this to go to the website if you'd like, or you can click on just the email itself to go later in the email to that specific message. And then it has options for you to reply to the group or reply just to the sender. So that if you wanted to send a message just back to this person versus sending it to the whole group. And then if you are getting it in real time, like I do for all of the AACE Connect messages, you'll just get an email and the subject line will be whatever the topic is for the thread that is being discussed, and you'll have the reply to group and reply to sender options here. So that's what the email options look like. and it makes it easy to keep everything sort of in your view so that you keep getting notified about those things. I'm also going to note under our communities that we do have some that are open to members and non-members alike. You do have to have a login to the ACE website, but it doesn't have to be a member login. And those are our roundtable discussions. And once you are logged in, if you go under communities, join a roundtable, you'll see what those topics are and a join button. And you can just click to join, and it's instantaneous. There's no rules about who gets to be in there.
Jen, could I just jump in there while you're making this on this area? On the we deliberately set. I mean, there are some very good, as Jen has highlighted, there's some very good, modern technical ways this is going to help us to get together. It's in a fairly fledgling state at the moment. This is why we're very keen to encourage everybody to take part. And one of the key areas to take part is these, actually, Jen, if you just bring that up so we can see all of it, thank you. We have actually set up existing communities based upon areas of discussion which we know have been popular areas of discussion throughout the ages, if you like, for our organization. When we have our annual conference, when we have our round tables, pretty much every single year for the last few years, we've had round tables that cover these different subject areas. So we know that people are interested in talking about them. We know that there are opportunities also in a setting. One of the ideas here was people get excited about discussing these areas within the conference. Well, throughout the rest of the year now, we have a chance to say, in fact, what we'll likely do is put a post on of the outcome of the discussions that we have, a little digest of the discussions we have at the conference, and then it gives professionals an opportunity to make further points or ask further questions or reach out and make contacts in any of those particular areas in which they have a particular interest. That was all I wanted to say, Jen.
I have just two more quick things about ACE Connect in general that I think are important and or useful. The first is I just want to show you where the account settings, what this does is that it gives you that same opportunity to change how you're receiving messages, but it does it for all of your communities in one spot. So if you had, for example, I'm in all of the communities, so that's something like 15 or 20 different communities in the group. And so my list would be 15 or 20 communities long. This account is only in 2 communities, so they can choose what type of discussion they want right here for each one. So that's a nice place to do it all for everything at once. And same to adding those email addresses where you can set what email address you want to receive communications from which community here. And then the last thing that I wanted to just note is that the search is a wonderful, wonderful tool. It searches everything. So I'm just going to use disparities again, because that's what's in my brain since I've searched on it a couple of times already. So if I search disparities, it's going to bring up all of the content that I have access to in ACE Connect on this topic. And I can filter it by which community it was posted in. I can filter it by when it was posted or created. I can do it based on the discussion thread or the name of the community. And I can also come over here. I can click on any of these things. I can also click on, because Michelle posted this, I could click on Michelle's name to see more about her profile personally, or to communicate with her if I wanted to. And I can, click straight into the discussion thread if that was something that I was interested in. As James said, this is all fairly new. So we're still building membership and building content, but the more people come on and engage, the more valuable this resource is going to be.
Well, thank you, Jen. That's absolutely great overview, and we look forward to that developing year by year. Let me at this stage, particularly with one eye on the time, let's move along and take the opportunity to invite Lucas and Kathleen to speak about the benefit of our fellows as a resource.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a great honor to share my story with all of you guys and maybe encourage some of you for an action. My name is Lucas Moskal and I've just graduated from medical school in Wrocław, Poland. I'm an active member of the European and American Association for Cancer Education. Let me start with a quick description of my beginnings. So everything has started in 2018. I was second-year medical student and my roommate Konrad was at the time fourth-year medical student working on a project regarding some serious gaps in Polish healthcare system. Results of his work were presented at the AACE meeting in Israel and received positive feedback. Probably 2 or maybe 3 weeks later, I came to our room full of people. I do remember that day very well, because I was struggling with my summer exam session. So I asked, what's happening here? I heard in response that they just received an email about the International Cancer Education Conference and time for an abstract is till midnight, of course, plus extra 6 hours due to different time zones. Good start, I thought. Nevertheless, the team wasn't so sure about it. I needed excuse for a break from biochemistry and physiology, so I offered my help. Since other co-authors couldn't join Konrad in Atlanta, I was chosen to assist him. I said, fine, let's submit a paper first, and then we'll see what happens. 5 months later, we were on our first flight to the USA. After arrival, another plot twist. Not knowing how, we wrongly scheduled a trip to the conference site. As a result, we were late for a tour around Emory University. Happily, Jane came to our aid. He called few people and we finally made it. From perspective, I have to say it was a brilliant move. 5 minutes of conference and almost everybody knew us. I'm not promoting tardiness, but truth needs to be told. After all, we received Selma Travel Scholarship Award, which helped us a lot and gave us a great start. Then we launched 2 different projects, surprisingly, both awarded at the AACE meeting in Porto in 2018 and the meeting in Salt Lake City. In 2019, probably, the REACE grant program was launched. Because of the fact that our previous project just described the ongoing problems and didn't include proper educational intervention, we wanted to do something bigger and better. Being aware of smoking problem in our country, in Poland, we decided to start smoking prevention program dedicated to the elementary school students. It wasn't easy. We didn't receive grant right away. It took 2 years and wouldn't be possible without involvement of Dr. Hennigan and her mentorship. She did a phenomenal job and we basically did what we are told to do. Right now, we run a program based on tobacco prevention toolkit from Stanford University. And our international team consists of more than 20 people, mostly junior investigators. The project is registered in clinicaltrials.gov database, received IRB approval, and is supported both by national and local authorities. In addition, except from our regular program, what makes us extremely proud of is the fact that we are able to conduct special workshops about the topic, about smoking prevention, in Ukrainian, just for the kids who have fled the war. Since our program was ranked among 3 the best in our region and is the only one regarding the topic, we want to expand our curriculum into other schools of the region. Into other schools of the region. The results of our project will be presented during International Cancer Education Conference later this year, and hopefully will hopefully published in JCE. All of that wouldn't be possible without AACE. The organization gives you a unique opportunity for self-development, for networking. If someone had told me 5 years ago that we'll be working with the people from leading institutions in America, I would call him just crazy, to say the least. Mentorship. In my opinion, the mentors and generally speaking, the opportunity of mentorship is what makes the AACE just special organization. Platform, you know, to put your ideas into life, you need support and need to be heard. The AACE gives you that. It's much easier to convince others to your case when you have backup. And finally, memories. Great people, wonderful meetings, and unforgettable adventures, not necessarily associated with a conference, I have to say, but all of that still brings me smile and joy despite the passage of years. Last but not least, I would like to share a few tips and tricks for current or maybe future members of our organization. First, patience. Success doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, it's a process with many obstacles ahead, but all you need to do is stay focused on your goal and be sure your time will come. Second, determination. You cannot be discouraged right away. If you, for example, I don't know, don't receive answer for an email, you need to write another one and another one if needed, and another one if needed. I think Dr. Hennigan can say something more about it. Next, hard work. There's no substitute for hard work. Hard work pays off, and end of discussion. Be open-minded. Very often some propositions may not look most attractive. Always be eager to listen, watch, and learn. You never know what you may need in the future. And finally, in my opinion, the most important factor is purity of intentions. You know, grants come and go, awards come and go, money comes and goes, but don't let your kindness come and go, because your actions can have a great impact on your local society, hometown, or on someone's lives, literally. This should be your priority and meant everything to you. Let me finish with a following quote, quite popular among physicians dealing with heart diseases. If there are no ups and downs in your life, it means you're dead. That's why don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. Be patient, determined, open-minded, work hard, and for good reasons. And please believe me, if I can do it, if we can do it, you can do it too. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Lucas, for those recollections and insights. Kathleen, were you planning to add anything further to that just at the moment?
You tell me how our time looks, James. I certainly can say that you know, our introduction came at a meeting, and I believe that I was the president at the time and met the entire group of students from Poland and just really embraced them. We went on several travels together, down slides, and played miniature golf and everything else that was sort of available at the meeting. So the meetings certainly are fun, but he had applied for, we talked about his research, the team's research ideas. He had applied for a grant. I happened to be one of the reviewers, and then just followed up with their team to say, okay, you did not get this. Let me share with you a little bit more. And then we had to go through that one more time. But really the outreach, the fact that this, you know, I was in that area of smoking cessation and reached out to a team in Australia who had a standardized program, and then Stanford, and the Stanford program and that leadership group really just engaged with the Polish team, and now their translations are sitting on Stanford's site. So we really had to do a lot of creative, I would say creative thinking, but a lot of work in the grant at a very off time, sometimes 5 in the morning, sometimes 10 p.m. at night, to meet all the different time zones of Australia, Poland, the US, and different coasts. But consequently, I mean, anytime that we have a call, our first thing that we do is just light up with a smile. But yes, Lucas is determined, and he is right. There were times where he sent me an email, and then there was a second one that said, "Oh, Dr. Hennigan, possibly you missed this," and he would talk about being pesky. But I think for those of us who are the sort of mid-level or senior faculty, I know for myself, I will sometimes get in 50 emails an hour. Having someone that will send you that reminder is extraordinarily helpful. But it's been a very positive experience. Mentorship is a positive experience on both ends. So I've really gained from this. And we did have big plans for when we were going to see the team at the European Association meeting in Poland, which has not yet happened, but we're hopeful. So, this organization is just great from that perspective, to be able to reach out to people all over the globe and ask for help. And I have never not had a positive response from that. So it's been great.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful to hear, and it's really great to hear, the balance of perspectives there between the two of you. Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today. We do have a few more minutes left in our meeting, and I'm going to invite, last and most definitely not least, my colleague on the membership committee, Michael Preston, to just say a few words about his experience of committee involvement for AACE.
Yeah, so thank you all for giving me an opportunity to share today, but I would like to, just kind of say, as a member of that committee, I've had opportunity to advance a lot of community outreach and engagement initiatives that our cancer center has been involved with. And as you may have known that as a NCI designated cancer center, a lot of things that we do is related to some of the pillars around engaging communities within our catchment area. And so with that, one of the things I did was pitch an idea to the committee, is to have kind of a engagement lounge where we actually invited the cancer center directors at the University of Virginia and also at Virginia Commonwealth University, also engaging some of our cancer researchers that do cancer education, and some community members to give them opportunity to have a platform to share, what they're doing is related to COVID and cancer, and how they're engaging their communities around these topics. And so that was well attended. It was so well attended that I want to say the following year, I was asked to, potentially, do a couple of more engagement lounges. And so as a co-chair of the Virginia Colorectal Cancer Roundtable, we decided to have our quarterly meeting as part of the engagement lounge. And so with that, we actually had two engagement lounges. One was looking at early onset colorectal cancer, basically educating across generations. We actually had one of the speakers was the past chair, who's a faculty member of VCU, Dr. Alice Chris. He actually talked about, the change in guidelines from 50 to 45. And we actually brought in someone who talked about, screening delays and early onset colorectal cancer as well. And one of the things I think that allowed us to do was not only engage people within Virginia, because we didn't want to be the type that felt like, Virginia were needed to know about, this information, but we wanted to be able to share that with our membership. So being a member of this committee has been great. It's been wonderful, and it has allowed us a platform to actually share a lot of the great things we're doing out in the community. So if any questions, or James, thank you for an opportunity to share.
Thank you, Michael, for that. I appreciate your insights. We had a question from Kathleen, but that's simply to say that committee membership, you don't have to be a member of our executive council. You can all suitably enthused members are welcome to volunteer. I think with that, we've come to about quarter past the hour, which was I believe we had this scheduled to run for an hour and a quarter, so we've come in pretty much exactly on time. So allow me then to say a big thank you to all of our speakers who've highlighted the benefits of AACE membership today, and perhaps an even bigger thank you to our members who've taken the chance to either attend today, and I'm sure that we'll have some other members who get the chance to use this as a future resource. Feel free, anybody, to reach out to anyone who's spoken today, or to reach out directly through our contact points on the website if you have any questions. Well, in that case, I think there's nothing more but to thank you again, and to wish you all a good day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye for now.